It happens to all of us, so don't worry.
No, it's just that most of us don't get along with most people. So like I'm trying, hi. So like I'm trying to make it work, with you and everyone. It's like, wow, let's see what we can get done. Let's see what we can do together. How are you? You ever heard of Flat Earth before? Yeah? Where did it? What was your reaction, and has your reaction changed since you first heard about it? Can I sell you on it? Cool. Because, this globe thing, it doesn't hold true. I mean, imagine flying from here to here. You'd be upside down, but you don't feel it, and the airplane's instruments don't say anything about it. This motion, maybe we get used to, but I'm kind of surprised that if this is moving at 1,000 miles an hour in the middle and about 800 miles here, that New York's moving away from me very quickly. If I had a 500-mile-an-hour airplane, I don't know how I could ever catch New York. But they say the whole atmosphere is moving together with it. I'd be surprised. How's it going, man? So,
There you go.
no, this guy's a clown. He's going to come give me shit. He's always here. Yeah, so you have to wonder, what's more believable? What's more believable? So we question the motion. We've been out to measure for curvature. We don't find it to be there. Find NASA to contradict themselves a great deal. We've been looking to ask people to be honest about what they believe. And really, you believe what you see on TV, kind of. That's the way we are. Have you ever seen the image of the globe from space in the space station? Do you realize that they're only 300 miles away? You know how close 300 miles would be on that? It'd be like right there, It's just way out here. So I got issues with the stuff they show us. They really test a lot of stuff in swimming pools, and they don't. That's an opposite pressure. They make so much money that they can afford to run around looking like this.
Listen, if you had more money, we'd get you better pictures.
Yeah.
Better pictures, give us more money. It's very simple. Very simple.
So the question is, what's more reputable? Is this science or is this science? Is this comedy or is this comedy? What's funnier? What's funnier? But when I look at how things work, here's the Suez Canal, 100 miles long with no locks. That means it's level from one side to the other. If you do the math, you cannot have level space for 100 miles. And it's just interesting when you start to look at engineering, you start to look at what makes things work, you find that there really isn't trade routes from here to here because it's really laid out very far. They're really far from one another. So you won't see trade routes, you won't see air routes, you won't see sea routes. More importantly, you won't see underground communications like the way, like optic fibers that they lay across the ocean or telegraph of the old days. They don't do this bottom to bottom. Planes don't do bottom to bottom. There is no bottom when you really go to look at it. So you got the North Pole in the top, the South holding into Antarctica. Imagine a magnet, north, south, all the way around. You got south. That's the way a magnet really works. Where? What you have is a vast ice plain. Instead of the infinity of space, what we have is more Antarctica all around us until you travel further on, and then you might find wherever my other world is. Lost my other world somewhere, but you might find that there's a whole nother world out there. Here. So imagine instead of your planets, and your aliens, it's just another melted spot out here where there's a sun and a moon going around. And then people ask, well, how does the sun and the moon work? How come it isn't? How could you see? How is there day and night if it isn't a sphere? And I just want you to see that when you bring the sun to the right height, it just lights up half. And when you go around, you can see half of it's lit daytime and half of it's nighttime. Out here, you don't have that option. You got to bring the sun a lot closer to make it work. So in our model, you're going to have the sun being considerably closer at maybe 3,000 or 4,000 miles away instead of 93 million miles away. So you definitely have to have the light being at the right part for it to be dark on one side and light on the other. So pretty interesting when you see the simplicity of that. How would it be dark on one side and light on the other? Doesn't take much to demonstrate that. If it was a sphere, but really it's just NASA images that you get, and I don't really trust NASA because I've seen the stuff that they do, and they test a lot of stuff in pools.
We are very trustworthy. We would never lie to you.
You can see, are they in space or are they in a swimming pool? Same picture, And when you see how they really do things, and you think about Hollywood, we've been really given the space program like a TV program, and people believe it because it's good TV. Space is cool, but when you go to really measure it, like, are there satellites? Can we see things that they put up in space? No. They show us stuff millions of miles away and tell us that they know how much a star weighs in a teaspoon and stuff that's stupid. But what you'll never, ever, ever see is Earth going around with like clouds and stuff, and a moon out there. You'll never see home. They show you stuff millions of miles away, but they never show you home. Yeah, what about it? Yeah. But really, you're looking through one eye, so the idea of 3 dimensions isn't even possible with one eye.
Well, we have probes on your hands.
Oh, that hurts when he says that. It's so bad.
We do.
You probe my anus one more time.
Taxpayer money.
I guess. So it really is about, do you believe that, the image is here? But more importantly, I'm not looking in space to measure the Earth. And we've gone out with teams with lasers and with mirrors and reflecting, and we can see further than the math says you could see. And the math is pretty simple. If it's really 25,000 miles around, at some point it's got to drop off in a curve. But damn, you can see the ocean. It's flat. It's a horizontal. It's a horizon. It's not a curve horizon. And it's sea level. It ain't a sea curve. So something doesn't match up. And when you start looking at the games NASA plays, you'll even find that when they launch satellites, you can see here, it's in a balloon system. And they do make satellites, and they do work, but they're not in orbit around anything. They're floating around in balloons that they launch in Antarctica where no one's looking, and prove to us that they have this technology, but it's not space technology.
Who doesn't like balloons, though? Everybody likes balloons.
Man's got a point. I'm defeated. NASA got me again. Everyone likes balloons.
And games. Who doesn't like games?
So the thing is, of course you have questions, but it turns out we have answers. Like, the answers they have aren't very sharp, so it's pretty, oh no, come on. We gotta give you a hard time. We got a NASA shirt. You didn't get that shirt on, you didn't get that hat on purpose, did you? Oh, here. Can't reach it.
Don't lose him,
All
man.
right,
Don't
so
lose him. Don't
I
lose him.
take that.
We got a guy in a NASA hat, so we were giving him a hard time.
Yeah, man. Keep going. Keep going.
All right, so it's like you got a lot of.
Is this where we are?
I said,
Yes, right? Are we spinning? Yes. Are we hurtling through an infinite void at 60,000 miles an hour?
Obviously.